Everybody doing, by the way? Everybody good?
Hey, Zach.
Hey Zach, how are you?
Unbelievable.
Doing good.
Good. Good to see you guys.
Okay, so right here, hold on. Let me share my screen again.
Yeah, and then for the onboarding engine, did you just follow the steps that were in the tutorial that came with extendedly?
Uh, yeah, hold on one second.
No problem.
I'm trying to find this.
By the way, Nick, we had one of our support agents kind of like low key put together this whole Miro board of like all the assets in the SaaS agency snapshot. Which we haven't, I don't think we've added it to the course or anything like that, but if you want it, I can send it to you. Send it to you.
Yeah, definitely. I was just getting ready to show him where the forms sheet is at. So I'm going to share my screen again. And on the left side over here, where you have all of the menu items, where it says getting started.
Uh-huh. Oh,
So
okay.
whenever you put in, let's say like the name of your business right here, right?
Right.
And if this is tied to a custom value, which Zach, these are on the snapshots, the small business snapshots, all these are all tied to the custom values, correct?
Yeah, you're talking about if you use the SaaS agency template, right? If you
Right.
use
Which
the
one,
SaaS
which
agency
one did
template,
you use,
then
Alex?
Yeah, I have the local business snapshot that it was like the $1,000 one.
so he's got the small business, so um it'd be a different form and onboarding engine. But yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
it'd be but a form similar to this, right, Zach?
Yeah, it'll look like this. It'll just have like a little bit different content because the small business there's a little more, in the SaaS agency. So
got
Right.
it. Okay, so I guess for my clients, they would just go into the onboarding engine just like this and just fill out their information and it's just pretty much good to go.
Right. So whenever they get the snapshot on the left side here, well, they'll have the menu items, right? Of course,
Hmm.
they'll have your account, right? And they'll have the menu items. And then right here where it says getting started or whatever it is that's titled, when you click on it, it'll open up a form like this. And whenever they put their information in this form, then it'll go through everywhere where there's a custom value, because these are all attached to custom values. And wherever there's that custom value for the name, then it'll populate their name. Like you'll
Hmm.
put their name in there. Like, what's your agency name? Well, right here it'll say, what's your business name, right? And let's
Hmm.
say it's ABC Contracting. So they put ABC Contracting, and then all the way through the text messages, the follow-up campaigns, the templates, everywhere where there's a custom value, it'll automatically populate that business's name. And so that's the easiest way to get them set up from the beginning. And then whenever you have that snapshot there, if you're using Extendly's white label support, then, or not the white label support, what is it, the onboarding, the white label onboarding, right? So basically they're onboarding for you, right? And so they'll set
Hmm.
all this up for your customer. And so that's really the easiest way to do it.
Got it.
Is have,
Okay.
is have
Yeah, yeah.
them set it up, and it's what, 150 bucks? Is that right? Zach?
Yeah, around there, right? For like 2 hours or something.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it. Is just to have
Mhm.
them go through and have Extendly onboard them. And then you can go in and answer any questions and fill in any other, questions that they may have.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, and then last question for me. I'm relatively new to Go High Level, and I just bought the snapshot. What would you guys suggest me be like the first few things I do with this snapshot here?
Zach, you want to answer that?
what well, tell me more about who you serve. Who's your
Yes.
customer?
Yeah, so we help custom screen printing businesses get more clients. So we're going to build a snapshot for screen printing businesses.
Okay. And what ways do you help them get more clients right now?
Yeah, so we do email and Facebook ads. So cold email campaigns. We're just gonna do like a little Zapier connection to the leads into there. And then we
Okay.
get them book calls essentially.
Okay. And the book calls, do you run like lead ads on Facebook, or are you trying to do traffic ads to like a landing page or something?
It's a lead form, like an instant form or a lead form.
Okay. Cool, man. All right. So, um, inside of the small business, and by the way, have you got access to the course area, the at learn.getextendly.com?
Yeah, I got it open right now actually. If you could
Okay.
point me into the ones I should do.
Cool, man. Yeah, so there's a couple things that I want you to be aware of in there. And one of them is actually, do you want to just share your screen real quick, and
Sure,
I'll
sure.
let me show you around the course area real quick because this will help you.
Thank you. Can you guys see my screen here?
Yep. All
Okay.
right. So if you scroll up a little bit, just a hair, to step 2. Show me step 2
Oh, right here.
already. Yep. So there's 2 lessons here that are pretty important. One of them is the setup checklist, and the other one is the onboarding checklist. So yeah, if you want to open like setup checklist first here, and so scroll down just a little bit. Keep going down, kind of on the main page.
Oh, okay.
Um, uh, just the whole page, like scroll the whole page. There you go. Now the bottom of that like little Airtable box, do you see that expansion arrow where it says like view larger version?
Yep.
Yeah, just pop that baby out. All right, and so um also let me have you just sort the view real quick. If you up at the top where it says sort, just click on by um priority.
Yep.
Yep, that should be good.
Press enter or something.
I don't know why it didn't I don't know why it didn't do it. It's weird.
Again.
That's weird. It should have done it. Huh.
Try refreshing the page.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Oh well. Um, we can actually, let's just filter. Let's just filter. And then add condition and then filter by priority. Is and then mandatory. All right. So these are the things that so when you first get the small business snapshot, it'll be in your imported snapshots list. You
Mhm.
need to take it and import it into its own sub account, and that'll be like your master kind of sub account where your snapshot lives. And this is where you can like make
Okay.
changes to it and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So,
there you
okay.
go.
So I imported
It's
it into here. Would
perfect.
Mhm.
That's perfect. So this list, the setup checklist, these are the mandatory things that you need to do inside this build before it's ready to deploy down to another sub account before you can deploy it to a customer account. So like for example, if like the replace checkout page placeholder copy, so just open that one on the top.
just click on it.
Yep.
Oh, then I
And
watch this.
so, yeah, so if you're going to use B005, which is the payment automations, the checkout, then that's like a mandatory item that you'd want to do, you know? But
Mhm.
for what you explained to me that you're doing, like, or at least initially focusing on with them, I didn't really hear like payment mechanics and the stack. So you
Yeah.
can have this, still in their account. That's fine. You don't have to modify the checkout copy until, they're ready to, until that's something that you want to do with them, right? And then you could always pass back around on it. So when you're looking at that mandatory list, you can kind of look at it in the lens of like, do I want to use that module? So notice how the top 2 have the B005 payment automations tag on them. So if you're not
Mhm.
really using the payment automations, you can ignore those. Now, one that you might want to do though is the third one in there, that's B011, which is lead form automations. And that's the module that contains a few different templates for lead magnets and things like that.
Mhm.
You could customize the lead magnet, like using one of our templates. You could replace it with something that you already have and just use the automations that are in place if you want to do that. So there's a few different options. There's like 4 different templates in there. And there's also the workflow automations to pick up on like Facebook lead form submissions and TikTok lead form submissions. Then it takes that traffic and it puts it sort of into the same stream as if they filled out a lead magnet on high level, if that makes sense. Like whether it comes from
Mhm.
high level or comes from Facebook, the idea is like you're probably running the same offer, or at least you can run the same offer in both places and run them into the same workflows. So that's one that you'd probably want to use. Now, go back to the course for a moment, which is far left tab. All right,
Yep.
now let's go back to the lessons in step 2. All right, so then see the one that says onboarding checklist?
Yep.
Yeah, go and open that one. And same thing with this one, pop this one out. Now, this is a list of things that need to be done and see how they're tagged with the same tags. Like there's some that are mandatory. So if you want, you can filter by only mandatory right now, just to get what you're kind of looking at.
Man.
You had it, priority is mandatory. Alrighty. Now, and so here's all your modules. And or here's all the onboarding steps kind of divided in the modules. So whenever you onboard a new sub account, so someone buys, you get a new customer, right? You're deploying this in their account now. This is the list of things that have to be done like on each account every time that it's installed. Now, tossing out the disclaimer that most of this is like 30-second, 1-minute things. And a large group of these things we do when we like do the white label onboardings and stuff. But if you're onboarding yourself, not having us do it and all that, your team's doing it, like these are the things that you just need to do, make sure that you do during the onboarding process. So another example, but so you can filter these out as well if you're not initially doing these things with people though. So like database reactivation. So I'll give
Mhm.
you a list of the ones that I think you should probably focus on. So if you filter at the top again,
Yep.
and then add another condition. There you go, and then do modules. Has any of, and then go ahead and start adding a few here. So you'll do B011, click on that one, and then hit the plus icon to add another one. Then you're probably going to want to do the inbound messaging, B008, and then add another one. I don't know if you guys are you guys interested in doing reviews for them at all, like a review
Ye-
management?
Mhm.
All right, so you'd want to select the B009.
Okay.
Definitely want to have B010 in there no matter what. Now, are you trying to take people into like a calendar appointment? Where are they landing after you nurture the traffic?
Yeah,
In
before
an
it'd be like a
appointment?
calendar page.
All right, so definitely B007.
Okay.
And then that's it. I don't think like you would at least initially need to focus on the other ones.
Okay.
So
So
these
once
are
I,
these are the 4 things you need to do each time that you load it in a new account.
okay, once I set this up, could I invite the client into the account? Do I have to like publish anything?
Are you talking
Or,
about
or are they all
where?
published already? Or-
Oh, you're talking about in the workflows?
Yeah. Do I have to like change anything here?
No, so um so it depends. So there's certain modules that like will they trigger, like B008 is an example, the inbound messaging. That one, if those workflows are on, which they should be on, they will start triggering right away once like an inbound Facebook message comes in, or once the Facebook account is set up in settings, like those
Mhm.
will start coming in. Once web chat is turned on, those will start coming in. Once GMB is linked, Google's linked, those will start coming in. So, that type of stuff. Then there's other modules where they don't fire off unless you tell them to do something, like the review automations B009, for example. That entire thing starts with the tag being added to a contact. And that tag can be added if you're using B005, you're doing like checkout mechanics as well. That tag automatically gets added after an invoice is completed or a checkout goes through. But other than that, it's not added anywhere throughout the rest of the system. So if you wanted to trigger it manually, you could, or if you wanted to set up a little automation that just adds the main trigger tag, like anywhere in the system, you could do that. But in answer to your question, like anything that's published or draft should be set up in such a way to where, as long as you do the items in the checklist, like you shouldn't have to worry about the other ones.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to take up too much time, so I appreciate it. I'll get started on the onboarding engine and building that out.
Cool, man. And there's already a template in there for the small business that you can use an onboarding engine. And just so you know, like it automatically yeah, if you go to I can just show you really quick. If you go back to high level
Sure, sure.
and then go to the agency level, and
Oh, you want some?
all right, it looks like you don't have extended dash
Uh-huh.
installed yet.
Okay, guess I didn't install it correctly.
Christina said warning. I cried again when I wrote this, so
No, it's all
And I
good,
love it
man.
'cause I
Once
get all my
you
ideas out and I put it into
oh,
the
let me mute you, Andrew. Once you should have got a link in your email that has a like an access key that you can use. It'll be in one of your emails, and that'll be your extended dash. Then you'll put it in a custom menu link in your high level.
Okay, I'll work on that now, and hopefully at the end of the call, hopefully there's more time. I'll touch base with you.
Okay, and have you already been on the did you go through the onboarding calls for the small business yet?
Not yet. Mine is tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, nice, man. Well, they'll do all that with you on that call too, so don't even worry about it. You're already like way ahead for the onboarding call, so.
Okay, so should I just wait until the onboarding call to kind of finish the rest, or should I do as much as I can tonight and then?
Hey man, whatever you want. Depends on what kind of person you are. You can, from my vantage point, you can never like, prepare enough, but at the same time, don't want you to like be bored during the call or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, sounds like you're a little bit like me. I can't help myself. Like I just have to dive in. So but whatever, you'll be all right if you don't, if that answers
Okay,
your question.
I'll try and knock it out right now. I appreciate the help, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. I have no idea whose hand went up first. I think maybe you, Rob. Maybe your hand went up first.
So
Let's go with you, and then I'll work my way down.
cool. So real quick on what you just touched on with I don't know what his name was. But this individual
Alex.
with Alex, so what exactly does white label onboarding cover from those onboarding steps? Like most of them, right? But do they actually go into each automation and like assign users to missed call text back and like what I just kind of saw in there? Do they go that granular or no?
They definitely out of the box add users into the account. That's like one of the main things they do. And the two, I mean, in all of those steps, getting the custom values filled out, adding the users to the account, adding the users to the calendars, and adding the users to the assigned to actions and the workflows, those are like the main, really like only things to do. The rest of any other things that need to be done, as you know, is like just areas where there's placeholder copy that actual copy needs to be added, like more in the long term. But the white label team should be doing all of those things. I know they're adding users to the count, and I know they're adding them to the calendars. The one thing I'm not sure about is the workflows, but they can do that. if they're not doing that and you want them to do that, they can do that.
Interesting. Okay, that's
Do
good to know.
A2P also.
Say that again.
They also do A2P as well.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and then also in terms of the onboarding engine form versus, I guess, the white label onboarding form. So obviously those are two different forms, right? The white label onboarding form is like essentially once someone purchases one of your plans, then they get sent that to, get the ball rolling for getting them onboard, right? So you get all their information. Then I assume the white label onboarding team goes into the account and uses that information to populate, all the business information as needed, right? And then from there, that's when the onboarding engine form, I guess connects to any custom values that you have in that form, right? So you can actually like change them in the future. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's that's an accurate representation of our like current work stream essentially. As I'm sure you guessed, like prior to the onboarding engine, the onboarding funnel itself was like what was all we used, that was like the main thing. And and then we released onboarding engine, and right now the only gap with onboarding engine that we still get out of the like onboarding form snapshot is that we can have other questions obviously that aren't directly tied to custom values. And right now in onboarding engine, like if we ask for other non-custom value data points, like there's nowhere to store them. And so for that reason, like we kind of like have been still using the onboarding funnel, but then using onboarding engine ourselves just to populate the custom values. But in general, like onboarding engine is really more for people that do like self onboarding. However, kind of like the vision for that engine is to become more or less like a customer success engine. So not just onboarding, but like other useful like retention levers, onboarding being one of the main, obviously, like retention levers from the very beginning. But yeah, and at which point in time we can take custom data that's non-custom value related, and the onboarding engine will most likely depreciate the like onboarding snapshot, but
Right. Okay.
not
Yeah,
there
that,
yet.
that makes sense. Yeah, I just want to confirm that that's how it works. So yeah, and then yeah, the onboarding engine is also really convenient too if you want to add, custom values from a sub account and be able to easily, change them as opposed to going in the whole list of custom values. So, yeah, definitely valuable. Um, okay. Other question for you is, what would you say is the proper and easiest way to do email campaigns in GHL? In terms of like, let's say you have a newsletter and on a weekly basis, you want to send out emails, right? So would you suggest like maybe making a template, right? And then just working off that for every campaign and you just go in there and like write whatever newsletter is for that week, but essentially like the back end of, constantly sending out like a newsletter or recurring emails.
Yeah, man. It kind of depends on uh how much data you want later. Because there's certain things that are easier to do, like in the short term, but they don't make it as easy for you in the long term. So for example, like probably like the most data rich way to do regular campaigns would be to um like every week mirror the workflow and the template and like use the new workflow and new template like for the new batch. Um and you can use like the drip actions like in the workflow also, so you can queue them up. You can queue up the list. Like you can add them to the workflow in bulk from the context view, the smart lists, obviously. And then queue them up in that workflow for the week. And then when that's done, draft the workflow, mirror it, and then run the next week's one through the next workflow. The reason why is because of two reasons. One, this is if you're using Mailgun. So this would be most of like the high powered senders are still using Mailgun. They're not using LC. At least right now, because you can control more things obviously if you use Mailgun. So in Mailgun, like your stats when you do sends through workflows, it makes it a lot easier to track your sends later. And then also like when you're smart filtering in high level, like if you wanted to say like give me just the batch that ran through like this one newsletter cycle. If you do 4 newsletters a month, then obviously you have like 4 by 12. That's the total number of newsletters you'll do. So you have that many batches for the year. So if you wanted to go back and look in like one of those batches for your contacts, then you could run a smart filter on that very easily for like, finished in this workflow instead of having to have like all these different tags that you use and stuff like that. Like would be annoying. So it's like tags are kind of persistent, right? But you can make workflows temporary and then just keep all the old ones like in the same folder just drafted. So you always have just like one published at a time or 2 published at a time.
Interesting. So yeah, you would go the approach of actually doing it through a workflow as opposed to in contacts when you like add them to the campaign drip.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean I would it makes it easier for data on the backside, analytics and stuff, and then also like it gives you more control like while the campaign's rolling out, especially if they're like caught in drips and in wait steps and stuff like that in the workflows. Like um, you know, if you had like a newsletter going out and then something went wrong and you're like, oh, I need to like delay it for a day. And then it's like, well, let me cancel the bulk action schedule and then recreate the entire thing, versus
Yeah,
just being like, okay, well, I'll just put another wait step in the workflow and push them down a step, or something like that. Makes it a little easier to adapt on the fly.
that makes sense. Okay. Um, and then I guess last question for you is when you get like emails just in general from other companies, right? They get like, let's say you click on their unsubscribe in the email, right? And then it takes you to a funnel page where you basically have a selection of the different types of emails you can subscribe to, right? So one would be like their newsletter, second one would be like promotional things and so on, right? So if we wanted to create that in GHL, right? Where you have like a selection of different, I guess, boxes you can select for different types of emails, like what would be the best way? Would it be creating a form with checkboxes based on
That
the different type of promotions, and then based on what they check, a tag gets added to them?
that already that already exists in the small business if you want to go look at it. It's in
Really?
B0 15, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Um
015.
So that logic is not mapped to anything though. So like the bones are in place for it, but like you have to map things to it. So I can show you what I mean if you want to share your screen and go there, I'll show you.
Um, automation. B0, what was it? Let me show
I
you.
think 15, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, subscription preferences. Share screen. Perfect. Then you,
So
okay.
look at the front end real quick so you can see what it looks like. Go to sites on the left before you look at the workflow. And then go to B015 in here. And then just check that page out. Like go preview that.
Oh,
So this is probably like that's like the type of thing you're talking about, right?
yeah, no,
So
exactly. That's literally exactly it. Okay, cool.
so now go look at the automation side. And then check out
Wait, so
the
this is
tag
linked to
router.
a form, right? This is just a form.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Uh, tag router.
Okay, so based on what's like checked in that form, um
Yeah, right here.
you'll see, yeah, see the tree? And so like if you have any other workflows that are managing those campaigns, like so essentially let's you can do it however you want, but you could either add like remove from workflow actions in here, or let's say that like every single like product update, had a specific tag. So it's like as long as they're getting product updates, they're tagged. When you like in your product update send workflow, you can just have it check, hey, make sure they still have the product update, and if they do, put them through this workflow. But if they unsubscribe from product updates, you can then remove that tag from the contact as well. And then any product update email that tries to go out, as long as you have that check at the top that's, hey, don't send it to anybody with the product update that doesn't have the product update tag. You could do it that way. You could have that removed from workflow actions directly in here as well. So we just wanted to like set the bones up for somebody like to like have it kind of already in place to be able to do it. You just have to decide like how you want to do the next part.
Perfect. Yeah, I actually totally missed this, and this is super helpful. So yeah, you guys already built this. I love it. Awesome. Cool. And then I guess the last little thing is in terms of a form, you don't need to always have it in a funnel, right? You can just share the link directly to the form, right? Like the URL, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I mean it's not a huge deal, but like something to keep in mind is like whenever you share calendar URLs directly, form URLs directly, survey URLs directly, or also like funnels that don't have like domains assigned to them yet, it's going to be the agency's like white label domain, you know? And so
Gotcha.
versus like if you put a form in a funnel, obviously you can have it branded to the white label business. And so then somebody's not wondering why they're going to like some other weird link.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Not a huge deal, but yes, you can in answer to your question.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Zach. Always so helpful.
Yeah, dog. All right. Going over Maurice, what you got?
Yeah, I've got a question about kind of a best practice. So I've got like a folder of data that is not going to every client, but only those that are, I guess, paying extra for it. And so what's the best way to send that out? I have a snapshot that goes to everyone, but I don't want to, I've had problems before where I have two different snapshots feeding into one and then pushing out the data. So what's the best way to send a folder of automations to specific clients?
Okay, so to make sure I understand, you're wanting to send like a folder with a bunch of workflows in it, like you're wanting to put that down into a client account?
Yeah, well, so for example, I've got say 20 clients that want it, but of the 100 clients that I have, I'm only pushing it to them. Normally, you push everything through like the one production account. Um, but if I do that, then it's going to go to the people that I can deselect the people. Is there another way to just select the people that you want? I guess that's my question. Because like with the SaaS setup, if I have that folder in the production account, then every new SaaS account gets it. If I push it from, say a different place directly to those users, now they've got two snapshots coming in from different directions, and I've had problems with that in the past.
I see what you're saying. Um, I can just tell you, I guess, like what I've found most helpful. So, um, well, so okay, so like our small business snapshot in our system,
Mhm.
all the different modules we are just going through, right? Like B015, B008 or whatever.
Yeah.
So in our account, like each of those are their own individual sub accounts with kind of like their master snapshots. So
Mhm.
when we do like the small business bundle, we push in updates from all 15 like separate accounts like into one account. And the only way that we can do that without it being a gigantic disaster is if we have good differentiation between all the assets. So like the only time that you run into issues with things conflicting is when there is already inherently a conflict because like you're having a double up of functionality. Whereas like in our instance, all the different modules are it's like, all the tags have different IDs, all the custom
Okay,
fields have
so
different
you're
IDs,
saying
all that.
in that, say, small business snapshot, you don't have generic tags, generic custom values. You only have the ones for that snapshot. So technically, you could push multiple snapshots to each user without conflicting.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. And that's the only way I found that I could keep my sanity with it, because if I didn't do it that way, then there was like anytime that there was shared assets across multiple different snapshots, like we always ran into conflicts, no matter how we, whether we did
Yeah,
it through like pushing linked updates, or we went manually to that account, or we copied just the workflows, like there was always
exactly. Yeah.
something would break, it was just like terrible.
Okay, so
So
basically just setting up a snapshot with only that asset in it, and then you can just push that snapshot to each one and you won't have any conflicts.
yeah, exactly. As long as it's differentiated from the other assets, shouldn't
Okay.
have any conflicts. And if you found yourself, I guess, like using that combination of things like regularly, instead of like always having to push that extra asset in manually, you could obviously set up another build that has sort of like the core plus that extra asset. And then
Right.
it's its own deployment that you could do, where they both already exist
Yeah,
together.
because the problem is when they order, the SaaS account's already created, and so they get the standard template, and then I have to do this separately. And so, okay, great. And then
Yeah,
go ahead.
oh, I would keep your standard template in its own master,
Mhm.
but mirror it over to like a new sub account, and then add your special sauce in on that sub account and make that your new master, with both of them combined.
Well, the problem is I can't do that because when they sign up, they're going to get the regular master, and then I can't give them the other one because that's where I end up with duplicates. That's what I tried doing.
Oh, because you do it as part of like an upgrade or something?
Yeah, it's an upgrade. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, so they already
Yeah,
have the standard stuff, and so it duplicates if I have it because it goes by the unique ID, not by the name. So I'll end up with like double everything. So,
that makes sense, man. Yeah,
okay,
then keeping the asset separate in its own account, pushing it in is probably the
easier.
most lightweight. Yeah.
Okay, and then I have a couple quick questions on developers. So, for example, I've got like a couple of developers that are doing things at an agency level, but they get every single email when someone doesn't pay or if there's a new SaaS account created. How do you determine, what they receive, or does everyone get that automatically through Go High Level?
So anybody that's an admin does. So like an agency admin.
Yeah.
So if you make them agency user, or agency users instead of admins, but then just give them like full permissions on the account. If they're only working on the account level, that'll work. But obviously if they need admin access, they need admin access. But
Yeah, they need admin access. So with that, they'll end up in having to just keep dealing with all of it. Because, like, for example, Extendly, you guys get every single email for everything. And you probably just
Hmm.
get used to it from every user.
Yeah, we have a like a whole inboxing strategy with that, where that parses out the emails from different relationship IDs and puts them in folders and all that type of
Mhm.
stuff. Um, so that thankfully that inbox is crazy, but it's all kind of like totally automated.
Okay, but
So
so there's no way for us to say, these two people need to get all of these. If someone doesn't pay or there's a payment failure, it goes to these two people instead of every single person that's an admin.
that, yeah, not that I'm aware of, unless you guys know of a way to do that, but currently I don't think so. Although I think that would be an excellent feature, like high level feature request.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and then the other thing is kind of the same type of notification, but it's using Lead Connector. So, for example, as an admin, when I use Lead Connector on my mobile phone, I get messages from every single sub account. Is there a way to kind of tailor that so you don't get everything?
That's weird. I
that
don't experience that issue.
Yeah. So anyone that sends an email, it'll pop up on my phone. Any of the users.
Hmm.
Let me look here.
Yeah, and I've got it set to my account.
Are you added as an admin to every sub account?
Well, no, I'm added as an admin to a couple, but now I'm just added as as just the agency admin.
That'd be so annoying. Like,
Yeah, it is annoying because it's like, I don't need to know this. I don't care. Yeah, I mean, if it was something interesting, that'd be great. But so
I'm looking.
basically, as long as you're an agency admin or an admin on an account, you're going to get anything on all accounts.
Yes, if you're, not speaking to lead connector, but the email side, if you're an agency admin, you get all of the admin emails.
Yeah,
They
well,
don't
no, that one,
only,
I think, like you said, there's no way around it. But I was thinking about the lead connector side. Is it so anyone that you're an admin on, you're going to get all of their notifications?
I
so
think that is
what's,
the case.
Yeah.
yeah, so I currently don't get like every account's notifications through lead connector myself. But I also, I'm not added, like I haven't added my agency username to those accounts specifically.
Yeah.
I want to say that anybody that you've added your agency user to is the ones that you get notifications from.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, the problem is we've got like a lead transfer process that we had built because Go High Level does. So instead of like exporting leads and then importing into a new account, we built something where we could just transfer from one sub account to another. And so it works great, but you have to be an admin on those accounts. So that's probably what's causing it then. Is, if I'm an admin on 5 accounts to be able to transfer, full contact information with all the lead data in it, then I'm also going to get any notification when anyone sends a text or email on that account.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay.
got to remove yourself after you finish that then.
Yeah.
Like an
Well, no,
admin
you
on
can't do
their
the lead
account.
transfer is the problem. So for example, like we have leads coming in and I disperse them to like 10 different people. And the only way to disperse them is if I'm
Oh,
admin.
I see.
Yeah.
You
Okay. So I guess
you
there's no
could
way around it. It's a catch-22.
I mean you could rebuild that system using workflows and then you wouldn't need to be an admin on their accounts. Um,
You can't
but
transfer between sub accounts though.
well, all you have to do is just fire off a webhook and then just catch the webhook in the next sub account. So you just post out the whole contact and catch it in the another sub account.
Oh, but with all the data, because like with Go High Level, when you export, you don't get like all of the survey information and all of the survey questions that they've answered. So
You can put any custom data into a webhook payload. So
okay.
like you get the standard high level object, but then you can add custom data. So you can map as many of your custom fields that you want. Like anything that you have in high level that's a custom field, custom value, any of that type of stuff that you want to push in the webhook, you can. You just have
Okay.
to set up your webhook there.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. Okay. I guess we'll deal with it for now then. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. David, I think you were next, my friend.
Very good. I've got 4 questions regarding workflow filters.
Mm-hmm.
If I add multiple file content possibilities, and I've checked like 5 of them in, let me open one up and so I can talk intelligently about it. Bear with me here. I got it. So let's just say I've got filters set up and I've got 5 options checked. Do they have to meet all 5 or just one of those 5 for that trigger to run?
If it's in a trigger, then yeah, they have to meet every single filter criteria that you've put in there. If you do it in an if condition, then it's gonna, for every branch that you have, same thing in the context of that branch, like every filter parameter you put in, it has to catch every single one of them. But if you wanted to narrow your filter parameters and branch them out instead, like in the if tree, you could, if you wanted more awareness over like, which of the filter criterias was hit, that might be a better way of doing it. But if you have it in the trigger, yeah, it's going to have to pass each one of those layers before it
Got it.
enters.
So, okay, so I would use that filter as in an if statement. All right, that makes perfect sense. In workflow filters, why aren't date fields listed?
Well, it depends on what filter, or pardon me, which trigger you're working with. Which trigger are you working with?
Well, I have in an opportunity, I have opportunity changed, and I want to add some automation based upon a date field being filled in.
Okay,
And
what do you want to do with the date field?
I wanted to run the automation. So that means that when that date field is filled in, then this automation will automatically run. But I don't even have a choice. Date fields aren't even showing up as an option. Only data fields.
And you said you're trying to use the opportunity trigger, not the contact change trigger?
Opportunity change trigger.
Okay, so like, so the problem is like adding, so you can listen for like a change in any custom field. So you can say like if this custom field changed, then trigger. You can also say if something changed on the opportunity object, you know, trigger. But you can't do both of them at the same time. But what you can do is one or the other, and then check in an if condition down below. So for example, you could say like, did the opportunity change? Yes. Okay, cool. Go down in the if tree. Does a date exist in this field? Yes or no. If no, stop the workflow. If yes, move onwards. That type of thing. If that satisfies your use case.
I could use that. Is there a way to filter if a field is empty or if there's a value in it,
Uh-huh.
but not as a trigger? It would be in an if statement then, again.
Yeah, that would be in an if statement, but yeah, and there isn't an if statement. Like you'd most likely have to trigger on still trigger on opportunity changed like you're talking about, but then now let me ask you this, does the date field exist on the contact object? Like is it a date on the contact?
No,
It's on the opportunity?
it's in an opportunity. So like I'm in the mortgage industry, we're doing this for, and so each loan is an opportunity. So I can have multiple loans tied to one contact. And so as we're syncing this data over from a loan origination system, I want to have this stuff. I want to have campaigns start and stop based upon where they're at in the loan process. But I think if I use an if statement, I mean, I can use I can do that. So one last question. I understand. Instead of trying to do an automation for a separate automation for each campaign, I could do one automation with a large tree, and each automation filters in the if statement. It'll give me more flexibility, so I don't have to deal with a trigger then, with options that aren't in a trigger, but they're in an if else statement. Is there a way in a number field that if the number is greater than something, to create that as a filter?
Yeah, it would
I was trying to do
I
it in
see
a
what you're
trigger, and
saying.
of course it is impossible in a trigger.
Yeah, it is in if condition, so you would here I can show you 1 second. Here, let me just share my screen real quick here. Just a couple things. So a couple things. I'm just gonna add a
Yeah.
custom field to the opportunity object real quick here so I can show you this.
Okay.
And we'll do date picker for the opportunity object test. Oops. So you need to have an opportunity trigger to use opportunities in the if condition.
Right.
Or else it'll gray it out. But if you have it in the trigger, it'll enable it down here. So then you can do opportunities, and then you'll have your custom field down here. So it's going to detect that it's a date. So then you can do, you know, either date is and select the date. You could also do date is after, select the date, date
Got
is
it.
before, all that type of stuff. And then the other thing is, well, actually, does that answer your question about the
Yeah, it does. It
math?
does.
Okay.
And in
'Cause
the
you
opportunity
can do
change,
math
you don't
as
have
well.
any filters in there then either. You just have it as an opportunity change, and that's it. And that works. Okay. I thought I had to put filters in there. That makes perfect sense. So I can put all the automation in one workflow. That solves the problem. I wasn't thinking that way. I was thinking individual ones. So in the if statement, can I also move it in the opportunities into a different column further down in the tree?
Yeah, so you could like if you add your if here, so let's say you do if. So let's say this is branch 1.
Yep.
So we'll do opportunities, and then we'll do let's say is after Friday the 1st. So let's say this after Friday the 1st, and then we'll add another branch and we'll say before Friday the 1st. And same thing, opportunities test is before Friday the 1st. And so then you'll get your, you know, your branches. And by the way, if you run out of branches, because I forget what the limit is, it's like 8 or something, then you can just do another if tree on the none side and then just keep nesting your if trees down. So it's like if it's not this 8, then maybe it's this next 8. If it's not that 8, then maybe it's the next 8 after that type of deal.
Got
But
it.
when you go here, if you want to move them in the pipeline, then just reset the opportunity. So create update opportunity, and then in pipeline and select your stage and all that stuff, and it'll move them around in the pipeline accordingly.
Perfect. Excellent. Great idea. Thank you.
No problem. And I got 3 minutes, guys, and then I'm sitting at a coffee shop today, and they're closing in 3 minutes, so I have to end on time today. But what? Let me see if Andrew or Moses. I know you guys have been waiting a little bit. What you got, and we'll see if I can answer.
I guess I'll start with the short one since you got 3 minutes. I'll come on a little earlier next time. I mentioned it in the chat. I got a bunch of like 3 or 4 A2P failures for only their sole props. The like LLCs and S corps, they're not failing. And I have white label onboarding. Is there something that I need to be doing differently, or just work with the onboarding team?
Here, tell you what, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna switch over to my phone, and that way I can just step outside and I'll keep talking to you guys for a sec. I'm gonna put
running
my
to a
hotspot
basketball
on.
game.
Let's see here. Gonna get my hotspot 1 second.
Are you getting water and food? Okay, and then can you drive, please?
Yo, Zach, what state do you live in?
Missouri. I'm in Kansas City.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Why is it not popping up on my computer?
You guys still here? I see Zach's frozen, but I don't know if you guys. Okay, I can. Thank you. I see Alex going like that. Hey, what's Panda, guys? I must have missed that. It says, what time did you hold the Panda session? Did I miss something?
I have
Yeah,
no idea what that is.
All right. I
I'm
guess
gonna-
we're asking Alex all the questions now.
I think Zach will be right back. Andrew, where you from?
Alhambra, California. Just I'm like a block away from Los Angeles city line.
Okay.
I haven't seen you guys because I know Rob and Nick. You guys, when Charles, I was getting on with you guys in like November, December, but then the calendar kind of went down, and then I didn't realize they shifted it somewhere else, and then I was like, "There's no more support calls," and I just found out that there are. So, anyways,
Yeah, they recently brought it back.
is there an actual calendar, or you get do it? Because I had to register, and then it's just for one. It's one event. Is there like an actual calendar I can? You remember how it
There's
used to?
not a calendar. I think there's only like 3 links where you just sign up for the calls and then you just get like notifications for them now.
And it's
It's
one
actually
at a
the same
time.
link.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
one
the
at a
same
time.
link for all 3 calls, but it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, all of them at 4 o'clock.
Oh, and it's the same Zoom link all
Or
the time.
4 o'clock Central Standard Time. So same
Is
Zoom.
it
Okay.
is it the same Zoom link? I didn't notice that.
It is. It is the
Yeah,
same.
okay. That way I can just put it on my calendar. Otherwise, you know how that goes.
Unless something changed. But I'm pretty sure it's the same Zoom link.
I'm locked in. Sorry. Sorry, I'm talking to my kids.
Alex, where are you from?
I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, on the other side.
Okay, nice.
What about you, man? I think I missed it earlier. I think you guys mentioned it.
I'm here in Dallas, Texas, Dallas Fort Worth.
Oh, nice. Andrew, you said you're in Los Angeles, right?
Yes.
Got you.
Anybody doing the agency alliance thing?
No, who's that with?
Well, Extendly partnered with
I know it's
Alex
starting.
Shinsky.
Yeah.
And if you're like the what do they call it? The ultimate, if you're an ultimate member. So yeah, I heard you guys say you guys had onboarding. If you're ultimate, then you get like 3 months of the thing. So I just that way I could look for you guys in there. I just signed up like a week ago or something.
What is that exactly? I'm not too familiar with it.
It's how to scale your agency with it's a partnership between Extendly and Alex
Alex
Shlinsky.
Slinsky.
He used to do the Thursday calls. It's amazing. It's the sales training.
Yeah, he's really good at sales. Really good. I've been in his program, so he's good.
All right. So
Yeah,
maybe
with Alex's program, Alex Slinsky's program, they have multiple coaches in the program, and so you can get coaching on pretty much ads, pretty much anything in the whole, sales, go high level sales spectrum. You can get pretty much coaching all the way around. It's pretty well rounded.
right on. Now, are you guys like super niche down, or are you like serving different clients?
So I was really niche down, and well, I wasn't niche down. I went to niching down, and then I kind of backed up to just 3 main categories. And so I have a lot of expertise in different industries like contracting and then professional services. And then, of course, I don't want to leave out small business. So those are my 3. It's like small business is my catch-all basket. Contracting and professional services, like under professional services, real estate and like real estate, title companies, things like that, because I have a lot of connections with them. I'm really heavily into real estate and construction. And so that's kind of my 3 sections, but I'm not totally niche down, but I'm not going after everybody either, right? So
Yeah. And are you do you have like different landing pages, or is it like a one-on-one sales process for you? How are you facilitating that?
So I have personally, I have 1 landing page, but I'm going to open up another landing page, which is going to be a funnel, right? So
Yeah.
where I just where I just sell one thing. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like once they sign up with one thing, then they'll find out that there's much more they can buy. My upsells,
Absolutely.
move them up the
Okay.
value ladder.
Yeah, only because like my very first client, and this was I was trying to be strategic. I got a broker who was they have life insurance agents. So I did a custom build for these guys. And then every time they have a new agent come on, they're like kicking on my way, kicking on my way, kicking on my way. So I'm like working on a build just for those agents. But now the agents are coming back and they're like, hey, I got a business client who, you know, is looking for this, and like, and it's all kinds of different all kinds of different industries. So I'm like going, you know, it's kind of like they're like, where do I send them? And I'm like, going, well, I don't know. So maybe I'm thinking I gotta limit down, because they're going out and selling and going, oh yeah, I got a CRM and I got websites and I got this. Like after I do my thing, now they're vomiting everything that the service
Nice.
does, but and then I have to get on a sales call and I'm like, okay.
I would
yeah,
just add a link for a small business just a small business snapshot. You know, where you could just give them offer two services, small business and then whatever it is you niche in, right? And so just let them fall into the small business category and just give them, you know, the 2.0 snapshot.
Okay.
I'm back on, by the way, guys, if you guys wanna
Oh,
have more questions. I don't
yeah,
have my video on because I'm sitting in my car, so, but.
okay. So did you happen, I think, did you happen to get back to me about the A2P thing? I'm like, now I'm lost. I had
Yeah, so say that again. You were saying that you have like 3 failures or something?
Yeah, so I have the label onboarding, and my first bunch of clients went through pretty effortlessly, right? Even myself. And then recently, I had a client who went through onboarding, they failed, and then the support team, they did it again and it failed, and one of them failed like 4 or 5 times. And then I had another client come on and they failed, and another one after that, like a week after that, and they failed. And I noticed that they're all sole props. Like, and then I had clients in between there that are like LLCs and S corps, and they didn't fail A2P. And so I have a support ticket open with John, I think, but I haven't heard in a while. So now I'm just trying to see if this is a known issue, or is it maybe something on my end I need to be looking at, Zach?
Um, what's your niche, or what niche are these in?
These particular ones are all, I think all three are life insurance agents.
Okay. Um, are you getting, so they're all sole props. What are you getting consistent failure reasons on them, or varying failure reasons?
Yeah, so two of them are they're both consistent, and then there's one of them that's kind of like out of whack out of everybody, because I've never had brand. You know how the brand goes through really quickly? That one, that's the first one to pass. They're not even getting past the brand stage.
Okay, so they're not failing on the campaign stage, they're failing on the brand stage?
The two of them failed in campaign, which is where the normal failures I see, and then we resubmit or whatever. But those two still haven't. So those two of them are in campaign, and one of them it failed in brand.
Okay, and the ones that have failed, are these ones, how recent was the first submission? Like, are we talking like a month ago or so now that
Yeah,
they?
it's been a month, at least a month. And so, you know, the client's obviously getting frustrated, and I'm like, well, let me see what we can do. I've given them the documentation, but they were like, I did the onboarding, and so I'm working with the onboarding team, and I just haven't heard from my support ticket in a little bit. So I'm like, let me jump on the call and see if I can figure something out.
Alrighty. Yeah, I mean, so so on the campaign side, there was a release that we put in the A2P snapshot, like, I want to say like a week and a half ago now, to use double opt-in form checkboxes on the opt-in form, and that seems like it's been improving the campaign resolution. However, there's a couple of variables in your instance that are outliers to me. One of them is the fact that they're all sole props, and then the other one is the brand failure. And which normally we get so if it's a brand failure, and it like sometimes it'll be the privacy policy normally fails on the campaign side. The brand failure one's a little peculiar to me. I don't know if that what kind of brand, that one's a life insurance one as well?
Yes.
What's the name of the brand, just out of curiosity?
AS Consulting.
Hmm.
And then the other two are just, I think they're just their names. I mean, that's the name of the Snapshot. So I mean, the sub account rather, excuse me. That's the name of the sub account. Does that even matter?
That's what I was asking, because A2P has been kind of funny lately. Like we've been noticing failures for just like certain like business names or like words that are used like in the prompt for the campaign. Like they don't like, I forget what Charles actually last week was telling me about, or I forget what word it was that they didn't like for him recently on a few of his client accounts. It was like some random word. But anyways, I don't know, to be honest. I know John is pretty deep in the A2Ps right now. We're getting kind of slammed with these like peculiar failures. Like it felt like it was smooth well, it
Oh,
felt
yeah.
really hard at the beginning, and then it felt like we were getting into like some smooth waters, and then only in the last like 2 weeks to maybe 4 weeks have we started getting all these failures when they're the exact same as the way we've been doing them for the last 2 months. It makes no sense. So I think John's trying to figure it out, but I don't honestly know if anybody, including high level, has it figured out, because I keep catching word of people reaching out to high level support over the failures as well, and it's like they're just in the dark on what's going on. So I guess what's your email address with us, because I can ask John if he's looked at your tickets yet and just see if he has any ideas. But I need to be
Yeah,
able to pull you up in the system.
it's support at andrewlramirez.com. That's the account. And I can give you the ticket number. And John has responded. He just stopped responding. Like we were going back and forth because I had multiple. I think I had like 5 total that we had submitted, and like 2 of them passed, and then the other 3 still got stuck. And then he just stopped responding. And then I went to the little chat guy bot thingy, and one of the reps was like, "Okay, I'll nudge him." So if you want, I can give you the ticket number, or if you just want to let him know, that's fine either way.
Yeah, man, if you wanna, and you can even like email me the ticket if you want, or send me the ticket number. Or if you have the ticket number handy right now, I can write it down too.
Yeah. It's a number 14123.
One second.
And that opened January 26th is when I opened the ticket.
Okay. I'll ask John about it. Yeah, he had
Okay.
John had to go to the hospital like a couple weeks ago. Got like real bad pneumonia, so he was down for the count like the whole week. But I think he's back now. I know he's catching up on the A2P stuff, or at least trying to. So I'll ask him if he knows anything about your situation and where it's at.
Okay, appreciate it. Can I ask one other quick question? I know you were. I hope this is quick.
Yeah, man. No worries.
I had a client, and sometimes I just like onboard them one-on-one when I have the sales call, and they're like, "Let's sign up," and I'll just do it for them. Like, give me your name, number, credit card, boom. I had one last week. I signed them up with the credit card, submitted the sale, and then I got the confirmation, but it was for an entirely different client. It charged the wrong credit card, and it created the the sub account for a client who was already on board. And there was the weirdest thing. So have you heard of that happening?
No, to be honest, I've never heard of that happening.
Okay, because
Like-
then what I did was I then told the guy, I'm like, okay, something happened, do it on your end. So then he did it on his end, put his name and black credit card, and it did it again. It did it on his computer, and then it did it again. It created a sub account for the exact same existing client and charged the exact same existing client again. Fortunately, it was on a 14-day trial account that order form that I had, so he didn't really get charged anything but the $1, and then it rejected. But just maybe make note of that, bro. And if you're hearing, but like that would be pretty cool if you could, get some feedback on that. And then I just did it, man. I went behind the scenes and I did it straight into Stripe after, to get him on board. And I didn't know if it had to do with my cookies or whatever the case may be. All right.
Yeah, because normally, even if I was to go right now and use the same credit card, like I could technically sell myself the same product like 3 times in a row, and
Yeah.
just be on 3 different Stripe subscriptions. So that being said, my contact obviously would only exist in the system once, but there would be 3 sub accounts under me. And so I'm trying to think of like a way that what you're talking about could even happen, because I actually don't even know how to reproduce that if I tried to break the system somehow. I'm not even sure how to
Yeah.
potentially make that happen.
And I went to support, immediately went to support, and they said, oh, somebody said, like, this is a known high level issue or whatever, and I couldn't get through the high level. And then I had to delete the original record. So then they said, well, we can't research this because there's no audit logs. And in the audit logs, it didn't even show that he had gone there, bro. And in his account, it didn't store his credit card number, anything. So anyways,
That is really weird, man.
it only happened with one guy, but it happened twice. So if that happens again, then I'll come back with that. So all right, cool.
Yeah, sometimes, just so you know, like there's been certain days where something weird will be going on in high level, and I will just rack my brain trying to figure out what is going on, and then the next day it just is like poof, all of a sudden it's gone, no longer an issue. And so sometimes when I'm just like, what the hell, I'll just wait, like 24 to 48 hours and then try again, because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes at high level, but sometimes it feels like whatever they're doing, like things will get a little buggy for a second. I don't really know. I like how fast high level moves. I just wish sometimes that, there was a little more stability in their deployments. So
Okay. All right. I guess I was lucky that it didn't charge them the actual monthly fee, and it was a trial. So that was the saving grace. Hopefully it doesn't do it again. Thank you.
no problem. I hate to jump off with Noah and Moses and Alex with you guys' questions. I gotta go for today. But if you guys bring your questions next week, we'll get to you guys first.
And Zack, are these calls from 20 minutes ago, or do they start earlier?
They start at and I noticed a weird thing on the calendar with this. I don't know why it's doing it, but they start at 4 p.m. Central Time, so 2 p.m. Pacific Time.
Because when
they
I
go
booked
till
it, it said that it started 20 minutes ago. That's the start of this meeting. And then my notifications come through that it's about to start as of literally 18 minutes ago from AEST, Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, I'll figure out what's wrong with the calendar and fix it for you guys so you guys can see. Because I did see on the calendar that it was somehow booking another back-to-back time slot. But yeah, it'll be from 2 to 3 Pacific Time each week.
Okay, so yes, thank you.
No problem, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, see you.
Too many expensive marketing tools. Should have gone with high level. You need a high level business. Extendly and High Level provide an all-in-one software platform plus 24/7 support all under your brand for one low monthly price. So you can ditch the costly mess and start a new SaaS revenue stream with your white label solution. Click the link and start your free trial today.